What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Thank you guys for tuning in for another video, and I also want to thank you guys for always dropping a like for the videos. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you guys. I thank you very much. For those who are brand new to the channel, we talk all about personal finance, increasing your income, passive income, side hustle opportunities, home-based business opportunities, and generating passive income through investments in real estate, investments in the stock market, dividend funds, dividend stocks, ETFs, index funds, and the like. So if you guys are interested in that, please consider subscribing to the channel. So I got an email, and I want to go ahead and pull it up for you guys. And of course, my computer went to sleep right in the middle of my video. But so it says, "Hey Ron, I'm a big fan of the show. I really appreciate the passive income information and financial motivation that you provide to us in every video. I am getting out of debt right now, and I'm expecting to have approximately $100 that I can set aside for investing into the stock market or real estate, ultimately with the goal of generating passive income for me and my family in the future. I am hoping to improve my family's financial situation. Everyone that I know in my immediate family is pretty much living paycheck to paycheck, and I want to be the first person to change our family tree. Do you have any suggestions for me? I currently make $45,000 per year, and I know that's not enough, but I'm going to be 25 years old next month, and I'm looking for a little bit of direction." All right, so a lot to unpack here. Appreciate you, Daniel, for dropping a message to me. I'm going to do my best to answer your question. So number one, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for always dropping a like for the video. But also, I want to just commend you for recognizing the pattern. And we talk about patterns a lot here on this channel. And I always say those who recognize patterns are going to be able to really capitalize financially, because when you can see the patterns, and you can kind of predict what's going to happen next. Now, evidently, you have looked at people around you, and you're seeing the pattern financially that is evolving, and you don't like the pattern. You want to change this pattern you set. And so, good on you for that. Congratulations for also working to get out of debt. Most people literally just kind of get comfortable with debt and just assume that they have to live their entire life in debt, being slave to the lender, and I'm glad you realize that this is not necessarily true. You do not have to stay in debt. It's entirely a personal choice. Obviously, it requires some degree of sacrifice, but it's still a choice that you can make. So you said that you will have about $100 per month that you can allocate toward investing in the stock market, ultimately with the goal of generating passive income. Great. You also mentioned that you make $45,000 a year. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. $100 per month investing in the stock market is not really going to ever create a life-changing amount of money for you and for your family from a passive income standpoint. However, that does not mean you should not try. And here's what I will recommend if I were in your situation, especially starting off with $100. What I would do is I probably would focus on doing the first things first, which is creating an emergency fund and making sure that I don't have to fall back onto a credit card or a payday loan or a personal loan, or, you don't want to you don't want to encounter an emergency and then have to use debt as your safety cushion. So that's how a lot of people, at least that's how it was for me and a lot of people that I've worked with over the years, they end up getting so far into debt because emergencies come up and they don't have an emergency fund, and then they find themselves in a situation where wherever they can borrow money from just so happens to be a high interest loan of some sort, whether it's a payday loan or a personal loan, or maybe doing a cash advance on a credit card. These are some of the worst places that you can think of to go to get cash. Unfortunately, some of these places can provide the cash very quickly. And so this is what makes it very dangerous. So the first thing that I would do is to make sure that we don't make things worse than what they are. I would make sure I had an emergency fund. And so I would start putting money toward that. The next thing that I would focus on is I would focus on increasing my income. Now, inflation will always be here. Inflation has been a very popular term over the last 24 to 36 months. But inflation has always been here, and it will always be here. The Fed will not let it go away. And so right now, the Federal Reserve is working to bring the rate of inflation back down to their target rate of 2%. But again, they're not trying to target 0% inflation. They're not targeting negative inflation rates. They want inflation. And part of the reason why is because they want to inflate away the debt that they've been accumulating. And one of the easier ways for them to do that is to have inflation eat away at these debts that they have created. Thank you, federal government. But in terms of me and you, we can't play that game. So we have to focus on increasing our income. We can't just print extra dollars, but we need to figure out a way to get extra dollars. So one of the things that I would definitely be doing if I were in your situation is I would be focusing on increasing my income. If you're able to get by right now on $45,000 and you have a 25-year, you're going to become 25 years old very soon, later this year. Good on you for being so responsible at such a young age, number one. But number two, I would strongly focus on increasing my income. Because if you're able to get by right now and have a surplus of $100 per month to invest and you're still getting out of debt, that means you're really paying attention to where your money's going. I'm assuming you have a budget. If you don't have a budget, I definitely put one together and definitely make sure I had a plan for my money. Now, what I would do here is I would say to myself, if I can survive on $45,000, just imagine what would happen if I somehow increased my income to say $75,000, $100,000, right? Without increasing my lifestyle. And I've done this before where, you know, I've literally sat down and said, hey, I need to increase my income. The problem with what a lot of people end up doing is they increase their income, they get comfortable, and then they want to congratulate themselves way too early and start, you know, increasing their lifestyle. And this is what they call lifestyle creep, where basically you're making a little bit more money, and then all of a sudden you start spending a little bit more money. And this is a pattern, this is a trap that a lot of Americans find themselves in, which ultimately keeps them broke, and it keeps them from being able to build wealth. So, you know, and you got to be real mindful of this, because generally speaking, the more money you make, the less cautious you have to be with money, because you have excess. The problem, though, is if you allow that to happen, then you never get ahead and you stay stuck in the rat race and you can never get out. Most people have a tendency to overspend by taking out loans, swiping their credit cards for non-necessities, and that's a huge problem, making the credit card companies rich. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, they're good. They don't need me to make them rich. They're good. Now, so we definitely have to keep a handle on our income and a handle on future income. One of the things I would do is I would take that $100 and I would strongly consider what types of skills can I acquire that would help me on my current job to earn more money. Is there additional education that I can pick up, additional training that I can take on that would help me to learn a new skill set that is a higher value skill set that would end up paying me more money? That's one of the first things that I would look at, because if I look at the fact that the S&P 500 generates somewhere between 8 and 10% stock market returns over the last 50 to 100 years, if I have $100 a month, that means that's $1,200 a year I can put in the stock market. So that means after a whole year, I might, on a good year, see $120 return on my $1,200 investment, assuming a 10% rate of return on the S&P 500. That's a decent rate of return, but if you look at the capital invested in it, it's such a small amount, it's not making that big of a dent it's not making that much of an impact on your net worth. It's not generating enough passive income for it to be, I won't say life-changing, but it's such a small amount. We would want to look at other ways to invest that money to get a better rate of return right now. Now, I'm a huge fan of investing in the stock market, but I feel like there's an order in which doing so will make you more money than others. What I tend to do personally is I invest in the stock market with whatever funds are above and beyond my emergency fund. These are funds that are above and beyond what is needed by my business, for example, which if you have a business, let's just say you have a business, for example, here, and your business has a 30% profit margin. If you can reinvest that money into your business, then you're making 30% return on your investment. Your ROI is 30%. So if I can reinvest in my business at 30%, I'm going to keep reinvesting in my business until I'm tapped out of being, once you get, if you ever reach a point in your business where you can no longer scale it, now it makes sense to look at investing that money at a lower rate of return, say the stock market in this case, because you're tapped out. You may have maxed out how much you can invest in your business, because your business is sometimes there's constraints to a business. Maybe you've already expanded your company as far into the market as you can, and there's no new customers that you can even get. Now, in that case, then you might say to yourself, okay, we really can't grow this company beyond where we're at anymore. There's a growth ceiling. Now I'm looking at the stock market. And this is just one example. Let's just say, you're in the computer field and you say to yourself, hey, if I get this certification here, I know that I can land a new job that's going to pay me $80,000 a year. All right. So let's just say this certification costs you, I don't know, $2,000. Well, we know that if you invested $2,000 in the stock market, generating a 10% rate of return, that's going to be $200 return. So that would be your profit on a $2,000 investment. But if you could take that same $2,000 and invest in a certification that would help you to land a $80,000 job, and you're currently making $45,000, that would mean that you've turned $2,000 into $35,000 extra every single year. That's a tremendous rate of return. What's that, like 3,000% or something like that? So I would always look at what is going to give me the best rate of return for my money. And in that case, it would make way more sense for me to either invest in my business or invest in myself in the form of increasing my skill set, higher value skill sets. In your business, it might be better. You might get a better rate of return hiring an employee, hiring an assistant, buying some new equipment. Now, if you do these things, talk to your own CPA, not a tax advisor, but, these are generally acceptable business expenses, tax write-offs, right? And so these are the things I'd be looking at first before investing in the stock market. But keep in mind, stock market investing, in my opinion, is probably, one of the greatest ways of generating passive income that most people can do. Most people can just download a Webull app, an M1 Finance app, E-Trade app, Robinhood app, and get started investing, even as a new beginner. I've opened up new accounts in less than 15 minutes and have purchased stocks within the first 24 hours of opening up the account. And with ETFs, index funds, they've made it very simple and easy for the average person with no experience to just start investing. So if I've already maxed out how much I can, if I've already maxed out how much money I can make out of my business, if I've already maxed out how much money I can earn as an employee, maybe there isn't a certification available. maybe I need to also focus on what kind of debts I might be carrying. And this is something I didn't ask you about. I got an email from you. I didn't reply back to you yet, but hopefully, hopefully you're watching this video. I don't know what kind of interest is associated with the debts that you're carrying. I mean, if you're carrying a 20% balance on your Visa card, on your Visa credit card, for example, you're gonna get a better rate of return by saving 20%, by eliminating that debt and becoming debt free and paying off the credit card versus putting that capital at risk in the stock market, hoping to get 10%. So, on the one hand, it's like you can get a guaranteed 20% savings, or you can get hopefully I'll get 10% reward or gain or return on my investment over here in the stock market. I would take the guaranteed 20% savings any day and twice on Sundays. So these are just some things that I would be thinking about if I were you, if I were in your situation. But guys, drop me some comments down below. Let me know if this conversation resonated with you guys. And let me know if you find yourself in a similar situation as this. Let me know if you have any questions you want me to answer. And also let me know if there's certain topics that you want me to cover in future videos. You should see a video here or here. Definitely check out those videos. Click those videos now and take a look at those next videos. Again, I want to thank you guys for stopping by the channel, dropping a like for the video, and also subscribing. You guys be safe, and I'm going to see you on the next one.